Hello all, welcome to channel Tech Tutorials Learn by Doing. In this channel, we post tutorial videos on tools and technologies that are being used in IT industry. This tutorial series covers tutorial on Amazon Web Services, also known as AWS. So let's get started for the day. In our last video, we learned about CloudFormation theoretical part. In this video, we will use CloudFormation to deploy the project that you had implemented in our earlier tutorial. If you haven't watched our previous tutorial regarding CloudFormation theory or the project, then I will attach that link in the description section below. Let me quickly go through the architecture that we had implemented in our project. Whenever user uploads the file in S3 bucket, then Lambda will be triggered automatically, which will aggregate the data. The aggregated data will be stored in RDS and the processing log will be stored in DynamoDB. The user will be sent notification via SNS. If there is any error while processing the file, then the file will be stored in S3 bucket and those processing log will be stored in DynamoDB and client will be notified about the failure. Let me quickly go through the CloudFormation code. Here we have different parameters. Subscription email is the email to which notification has to be sent. Reprocess bucket is the name of reprocess bucket where we have upload the S3 files. DynamoDB table name is the table name that will be created with CloudFormation. Error bucket name will be the name of error bucket that will be created with CloudFormation. And we have other resources name that will be created with CloudFormation. We also have the Lambda execution role ARN. So we will use IAM to create one IAM role and use its ARN for this tutorial as an input. We'll also create database and use database credential to give input to CloudFormation code. In resources section, we have multiple resources that will be used in our project. We have PyMySQL layer, we have Lambda function, we also have DynamoDB table that will be created with CloudFormation. We have reprocess bucket, error bucket, SNS topic, as well as the output section. Since creation of RDS takes a longer time in AWS, we'll use different service for creation of RDS. For that, let me go to the web browser and type db4free.net. It is the website that provides us free database account. Click on create an account for free and give here your database name, password, and username. They have to be unique so that it doesn't overlap with other users. After filling these details, let me fill some sample detail here. After filling this detail, click on I have read the agree and terms and click on sign up. After clicking sign up, we'll get the message as this. Scroll down the message and click on this button. Then your database will be created and you will have username, database host name, database password, and database name. For now, let us go to the CloudFormation and deploy the resource that we had created using CloudFormation code. Before deploying our resources with CloudFormation, we have to create IAM role for the Lambda. For that, go to services and click on IAM. It will bring the dashboard. So click on roles, click on create role. It is for the AWS service. Service name is Lambda and click on next. Here we require access to S3. So click S3 full access. S3 full access. We also require access to SNS. So search for SNS. So for SNS full access, we also require access to DynamoDB, DynamoDB full access for now. Then we require basic Lambda execution rule. Let me review the policy now. Click on next. S3 full access for reading file from S3 and inserting into the S3 bucket in case of error. SNS to send notification. DynamoDB to insert the aggregated log. We do not require access to RDS as you have utilized another service instead of RDS. Then the basic Lambda execution rule. After clicking all this setting, keep one rule name, lab rule, and click on create rule. I have already created the rule, so it is not required for me, but in your case you can create like this. For my case, I have already created the rule, so let me search here lab rule and copy is ARN. Let me copy its ARN and store in the safe place. Now let us head to the CloudFormation and deploy our resources. For that, I'll go to services and type CloudFormation. Let me duplicate this tab. We require S3 bucket to store Lambda code and zip file code. For that, let me click S3 and create one bucket. Create a bucket. Bucket name is lab CloudFormation. Click on create bucket. It already exists, so let me give tech tutorial as well. It has to be unique throughout the world. Bucket has been created. Now let me upload our CloudFormation code here. Add files, CloudFormation scripts, MySQL layer, Lambda code, and CloudFormation code. Upload. This is the ARN value. Let me paste it here for now. We can see that the Lambda code as well as CloudFormation code has been uploaded. So let me click on our CloudFormation code and click on copy URL. On CloudFormation, click on create stack and with new resources. We have our CloudFormation code in S3, so paste here S3 URL. We can also visualize the resources that we are going to create in Designer. So let me click on View Designer. Let me minimize it. We can see that the different resources that are being created with the help of this CloudFormation code. It will create SNS topic, it will create reprocess bucket, it will create error bucket, it will create Lambda function, and it will create DynamoDB table. So it is as desired. So click on create stack. Click next. Give stack name. Cell summarize stack. Give the name of CloudFormation bucket here. Our name of CloudFormation bucket is this one. So let me paste that value here. and paste the database credential that you had created early with help of db4free.net. Let me click that credential from here. Database host is this, database host name, database name I had created this database name. So let me paste here database name. Database password was this one for my database. So let me paste the password also. Let me paste the username also. And on Lambda execution role, paste the ARN value that you had copied earlier. Lambda execution role ARN and click on next. Click next. Review your variable values if it is as desired or not, and if it is okay, click on create stack. We can see the progress of creation here. Let me refresh. So let me go to the resources section. There you can see the list of resources that are being created. SNS topic is being created, reprocess bucket is being created, Lambda layer is being created, error bucket is being created, and DynamoDB table is being created. Some of the resources has been created. DynamoDB is still in creation progress, but other resources they have been created successfully. DynamoDB table is also created. Now it is starting to create for Lambda function. Let me refresh it for some time. Lambda function is also created, and we can see here the cell summarize stack has been created successfully. Now let me click on the Lambda function from here. Lambda function, click on it. We haven't added the trigger from S3 bucket. We'll do that manually here. So click on add trigger, select S3, give S3 bucket name, reprocess bucket, and add trigger. Although we had created the databases with db4free.net, but we had not created the table. For that, I have a script that is in the GitHub as well. So on this create table get records.py, make this create table variable as true and run this script. The credential has to be the credential that you had created. Let me run it. It is minimized. We can see that it is creating the table, and the table has been created successfully, and currently there are not any record. From next time we can keep this value as false and rerun again. We can see that there are not any record. Let me also subscribe to the notification. Confirm subscription. Subscription has been confirmed. Now all the settings has been confirmed. So let us test our architecture. Click on the bucket and upload our test file here. Add file, transaction, open it, and let me upload it. File has been uploaded. Now it has been picked also. Now Let me click on monitor and view logs in CloudWatch. There is one log. So let me open that. It was getting the file, inserting, training the query, executing the query, and uploaded the data in DynamoDB. And the file has been uploaded successfully. So I should have got the email as well. Let me refresh it for some time. Maybe it can be due to the error in naming convention. Let me go to the DynamoDB table to verify it. DynamoDB tables. Here you can see that the table was created already by the CloudFormation, and click on explore item. We can see that there was one record processed successfully. There were four record process and status was success. Now let me validate it by querying into database also. Before we did not have any record. Four records were processed. So now we have two record and the file name was transaction.csv. There were five apples, five eggs and three apples in the record. We can also view that sample file in GUI also. Transaction CSV. So there were 3 plus 2, 5 eggs, and 2 plus 1, 3 apples. For the notification, let me click on the configuration, environment variable, SNS topic ARN. Let me validate this ARN. For that, click on SNS. Topic. So this is the ARN of topic that has to be passed. It has to be same, otherwise the mail it will not be sent. So that was for the tutorial, guys. In this tutorial we use the CloudFormation to deploy our resources, and in order to delete all those resources we do not require manual intervention. We can just delete this stack and all the dependent resources will be automatically deleted. So this was for this today, guys. If you like my video, give like button and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss the future tutorials. Thank you.